So with that, I'm going to hand over to Eddie right now to show you what the Click solution can do for you. Again, it's not about dashboards, bells and whistles. It's about embedding it into a process and how it can take you to the next level. Right, I'll hand over to Eddie right now.
Thank you, Jeremy. So next, I will actually bring you through a demo on the active intelligence in action. So using the Click platform, we want to actually understand, we want to actually understand about talent retention. So we want to put active intelligence into action by putting in all this employee data into a dashboard so that we can actually help to actually improve the employee retention. So first, I want to actually identify the groups with high turnover. Next is actually predict which of the existing employee will be likely to leave based on an automated machine learning model that I've built into the system. So it actually helps me to actually predict who is next. And last but not least is actually on the action. I want to act on it. How do you bring action to actually address all these issues? Okay, so but before that, let me bring you through a hub experience of Click. So once you log in, this is what you're actually going to see. So as a new user, we actually bring you through all the capability of Click in a glance. So how do you get started? So first, you actually can see what is how to actually start your analytics journey. So you can start with data, you can analyze data, you can actually watch video on how do I, for example, create an app, how do I load data into an app, etc. So as a newbie who actually very new to Click, it's actually very easy to actually get started with using Click. Next will be the homepage. So I actually customize this homepage according to what I want to see. So this is my personal page. So I actually put in some of the apps that I normally use. For example, the employee retention analysis I'll show later on. Finding my dream home, Airbnb, Singapore, COVID-19. So if you're actually interested in any one of these apps, look for me later on during the break. And also, instead of going through all the dashboard to actually find all this information, why not I just put them into my hub? So for example, I actually tag all these different analyses. What is the $1 million transaction in HDB unit? 730 of them. What is the latest COVID cases? 1.81. So I get updated by looking at just the hub itself. So similarly, there are actually other stuff that I actually can put in there. Okay? So imagine I'm a HR practitioner. I came into office this morning and I received this alert telling me that my current quarter turnover is actually, there's some issue with that, it's actually being alerted. So this actually changed the whole landscape of analytics where normally business user, data analysis, you have to actually go into the dashboard to actually look at the dashboard, look at the KPI. But using this capability, you'll be alerted when there's actually some of the KPI being over the threshold. So there's no need to actually keep on monitoring the dashboard, but you can actually set all this alert yourself to get all this information in real time. So I can see that my KPI, my turnover is actually 5.3%, exceeding my threshold of 5%. And it actually allows me to actually click on this to actually go into the app itself. So let's take a look. Okay, so what I've done is someone actually built this dashboard and then it actually shared to me and set an alert for me to actually say that when the threshold actually exceeds, let me know. So I can actually see that all these are the existing employee data together with the turnover. What is the active employee? 961. Turnover is 180, pretty high. And I can actually see in geospatial. So for example, I actually see over the map of Singapore where they stay. So using the color, it actually indicates the higher turnover is actually darker blue. So from here, I can actually see that Punggol. Yeah, let me just. Okay. So when I actually mouse over, I can actually also see the trend by the town. So where does the employees stay? Punggol seems to actually have a higher uptick on the people leaving. And I look at the trend line here at the bottom here, I can actually see that over time, people leaving is actually normal. But over the past last 3 quarters, it's actually, there's an uptrend. People are actually leaving more and more. Why? So I can straight away zoom into this 3 period. Okay, let's look at the organization. So maybe like try to make it bigger. Yeah. Okay. So looking at the organization of the past 3 quarters, people who leave, most of them are actually okay. Then the rate actually start to indicate that there's actually higher than normal turnover. It's actually at the training and development. And more importantly, it's actually at the process. Under operation, process is actually a very small box. That means that the number of employees is actually not a lot, but turnover is actually higher than normal. So quickly, by clicking at these few clicks, I will get a lot of this insights for me to actually help me to actually start to investigate whether by the location, by the organization, what is happening. Next, all this data is actually put into click automated machine learning, we call it AutoML, to actually go through the prediction. So data analysis like you can actually make use of this tool, that you can just set the target. For example, in this case, I set the target as a turnover. And put in all the other parameters as the factors. Then from that, click AutoML will actually go through all the algorithm and then come up with a model for me to use. And on top of that, they actually show you what is the permutation, what is the attribute that actually contribute to the highest based on the model itself. So with this, I can actually put this data back into the dashboard. So right now, my dashboard containing 2 sets of data, the existing people, the existing employee, and also the predicted information. Okay, so I actually come up with this dashboard. Just want to show you this. So this is a table that contains both the information of these are all my existing employee. I actually put in another column there to indicate whether are they going to stay, will retain, or they have flight risk. Okay. So probably I actually want to ask one question. Okay, I can make use of this Insights Advisor to quickly ask a question. So for example, okay. So let's say I want to say flight risk percentage by department. Okay. So I do a natural language check. So by just asking a sentence, I want to see the flight risk percent by department. Using the natural language processing and together with the cognitive engine of Click, Click is able to actually recommend me that this is a chart that possibly can answer your question. It's a flight risk percent by a department chart. Okay, so I'm interested in this particular chart. I can click and then add to my dashboard by clicking on this Add to Sheet. Okay, then I see my Insights Advisor and the sheet will be there. So from here, I can actually see that by department strategy and process is actually at the higher risk of actually people leaving. Okay, so traditionally, we actually understand that IT is one of the highest turnover department in our organization. Okay, so let me just do a search. So I can actually use a smart search to search through the existing data set together with the predicted data. So let's say I search for IT flight risk. Okay, and it's able to actually recommend me that IT actually belongs to an organization. Flight risk is actually belonging to the turnover prediction. So once I selected it, okay, I'm able to actually zoom down directly to IT and those people who are actually marked as potential to leave. So you can actually see that who are the department is actually database administrator, our DBA, and business intelligence, which is where I'm in now. Okay, so looking at the prediction drivers also can allow us to actually drill down to actually understand why would they leave. So if you go through all the different kind of factors, days since vacation is actually marked as the highest contributing factor of people leaving based on the existing data set. Okay, so quickly we can actually talk to the IT director, go through all this, especially the DBA and the BI, the staff, schedule their off days, schedule their schedule them to actually go on leave so that we can actually try to apprehend the cause immediately. Instead of waiting for them to leave, then doing the exit interview is actually not fun. Okay. Next, I also want to actually zoom down to all those people who are actually higher risk. So let me just zoom down to this. Okay. People more than 68%. And I want to actually zoom down to these 4 people. Okay. Next, I actually want to actually act on it. So what I can do is I can actually build automation, which is a workflow in Qlik that allows you to actually build all these processes, no code using no code, using just block. You can connect to the Qlik cloud. You can connect to all the various providers. So in this example, I'm actually taking the data and then putting into teams. Okay? So what I can do is I can actually select the data that I want. I can actually do this and click on Notify Management. So at the point of analysis, there's no need to actually do copy and paste, etc. Just by clicking on this button itself, what it does is it actually pastes a item into here. So you can see that it's 3:02 p.m. now. So I'm actually being alerted. So this can be a Teams channel by the management. So all the VP management people actually belonging to this channel. So I can actually drop a message to them, telling them that you actually have 4 employees having a high turnover rate. This is the app link. You can actually click on this app, go in to actually understand more, and I assign this to Jeremy. So Jeremy has to follow up. I can actually set a due date for him and can actually put in some comment. On top of that, I can also do alerts. So similarly, just now when I actually do alert, it's actually on the general KPI. But I can actually set the alert for these 4 people. So when the flight rate is actually increased even further, I want to actually get notified. Or I can actually put in notes. So notes is actually a collaboration tool that allows you to actually collaborate with your colleagues. So for example, you actually come to this point in your analysis, you're actually interested in this 4 person, I want to actually act on it. I want to actually discuss with my colleague in HR or my HR manager. So I can actually say CK. So for example, let's discuss on this. So there are actually many ways to actually act on all this information. So CK, when he logs into the dashboard, you'll be able to actually get this alert to actually say that Eddie has actually left you a note. Go in, he'll be able to see exactly what I'm actually seeing. So we can actually collaborate from there. Okay, can we switch back to the slide? Okay, so what you actually see is actually active intelligence in action. So first, we actually get the data. We can actually connect to multiple sources of data, pull them all in together. Okay, so we turn it as free. Then we can allow the content creator, business analysts like you to actually look at the data. The data is actually already cataloged. You can actually look at the properties of the data, the statistics of the data. You can pick and choose what you want. Then from there, okay, we call this find it. So you can find the data. And from there, you can actually build dashboard. So this is, for example, the HR dashboard together with the automated machine learning model itself. Okay, so you can actually predict what is going to happen, understand it. Then from there, you can actually build workflow, processes, automation into teams, alerts, collaboration, etc. And that's why we call it Action It. So the whole flow is what we term as the active intelligence. We want to be proactive rather than reactive. We don't want to ask employee business analysis to go into the system every day to check for your KPI. But we want to actually actively action on it so that you can actually build alerts, automation that actually help us to do all these things. And this is possible using the Qlik platform, the Qlik Active Intelligence platform, where we actually cover both sides of the story, the data services and the analytics services. So we have all these capabilities like connecting to our data, transforming the data, using the automation to build the pulling of the data. We can build dashboard, visualization, and we, through the augmented analytics, do embedded analytics, etc. And ultimately, setting the alert and the action. So these are all the functional services that we have using the artificial intelligence, associative engine, etc. And as what Jeremy mentioned, this is actually agnostic. We don't really mandate you to actually use a particular vendor. It can be on-prem, client managed. It can be on the cloud, It can be in your GCC, etc. It doesn't matter. So what we want to do is we actually allow you to put all this into action. So we want to actually make everybody using active intelligence instead of just reacting. Okay. With that, I will end my demo and I pass back to Jeremy.